Hello. Hello, hello. Check one. Hello. Thanks for joining me. Hey. All right. Everybody's here. All right. Okay. So if you're just joining us, chapter 4 today, as we discussed, yesterday was washing up, in which we talk about how Stuart uses the sink and how he has to use a little hammer to turn the faucet on. He has to he swings like a monk, like ringing a bell at a big church in order to like turn the light switch on. So pretty exciting stuff. You can recheck the other chapters if you want. Without further ado, chapter 4, exercise. One fine morning in the month of May, when Stuart was 3 years old, he arose early as was his custom, washed, dressed himself, took his hat and cane, and went downstairs into the living room to see what was doing. I like that saying. I'm going to see what was doing. Nobody was around but Snowbell, the white cat belonging to Miss Little, voiced by Nathan Lane in the films, of course. Snowbell was another early riser, and this morning he was lying on the rug in the middle of the room, thinking about the days when he was just a kitten. "Good morning," said Stuart. "Hello," replied Snowbell sharply. "You're up early, aren't you?" Stuart looked at his watch. "Yes," he said. "It's only 5 minutes past 6, but I felt good and thought I'd come down and get a little exercise." I should think you'd get all the exercise you want up there in the bathroom, banging around, waking all the rest of us up, trying to get that water started so you can brush your teeth. Your teeth aren't really big enough to brush anyway. Want to see a good set? Look at mine." Snowbell opened his mouth and showed 2 rows of gleaming white teeth, sharp as needles. "There's that." Snowbell showing off his teeth. Very nice," said Stuart. "But mine are all right, too, even though they're small. As for exercise, I take all I can get. I bet my stomach muscles are firmer than yours." "I bet they're not," said the cat. "I bet they are," said Stuart. "They're like iron bands." "I bet they're not," said the cat. Stuart glanced around the room to see what he could do to prove to Snowbell what good stomach muscles he had. He spied the drawn window shade on the east window, with its shade cord and ring like a trapeze, and it gave him an idea. Climbing to the window sill, he took off his hat and laid down his cane. "You can't do this," he said to the cat. You can't do this," he said to the cat, and he ran and jumped onto the ring the way acrobats do in a circus, meaning to pull himself up. Look at that image here. A surprising thing happened. Stuart had taken such a hard jump that it started the shade with a loud snap, and the shade flew up clear into the top of the window, dragging Stuart along with it, rolling him up inside so that he couldn't budge. "Holy mackerel," said Snowbell, who was almost as surprised as Stuart Little. "I guess that will teach him to show off his muscles." "Hey, let me out," cried Stuart, who was frightened and bruised inside the rolled up shade, and who could hardly breathe. But his voice was so weak that nobody heard. Snowbell just chuckled. He was not fond of Stuart, and it didn't bother him at all that Stuart was all wrapped up in a window shade, crying and hurt and not being able to get out. Instead of running upstairs and telling Mr. and Mrs. Little about the accident, Snowbell did a very curious thing. He glanced around to see if anybody was looking, then he leapt softly to the windowsill, picked up Stuart's hat and cane in his mouth, and carried him to the pantry and laid them down at the entrance to the mouse hole. Oh my gosh, you guys see where this is going? Look at that, he's got his thing here. When Miss Little came down and later and found them there, She gave a shrill scream which brought everybody on the run. "It's happened," she cries. "What has?" asked her husband. "Stuart's down the mouse hole." And that's the end of chapter 4 on a cliffhanger. Oh my gosh. So, just to recap, it looks like Stuart, he was trying to show off his muscles. He got wrapped into a window shade. And Snowbell, the cat's going to make it look like Stuart ran away because Snowbell doesn't like Stuart. So he's going to make it look like an accident happened and he disappeared. That's scary. So we'll have to wait till tomorrow to find out what happened. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then also tomorrow, I think I'm going to have to do this early, like, and if nobody comes, that's okay. And if only one person comes, that's all right. But I have to do it early because I'm going to go to the Minnesota State Fair tomorrow. But we're going to do this at like 8:30 a.m. Central Time. So if anybody can be there, we'll see you there. Otherwise, no worries. Check it out. Check the recap later. Chapter 5, going on a cliffhanger. All right, so have a good night, y'all. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. We're wishing Stuart the best. We're hoping he gets out of that lampshade and that everything's restored. All right, y'all. Bye-bye.